from now. So basically, this is where I want to say this is really a GAP, a grab a pen. So your story is your background, the things you didn't like about it, how network marketing came into your life for the rescue, either the results you've already had in terms of the products or financially. But if you haven't had massive results yet financially, it should be about how you see your future. You can still have a very compelling story without immediate results. And one thing that you're going to learn is part of the results that you can mention is the intangible values. It's not about the monetary value. You make more money when you bring more value. And you add more value when you become a better person. And a big part of network marketing is about personal development. So even if you said, like, you know what, like, I've always been interested in personal development. I've always been interested in presentation skills. I've always been interested in becoming a more compassionate human being. And this is about networks and connections. So it's turning me into a better person. And I love it, you know? All of us can tell that story, because this is about facing limiting beliefs. Like, I've always been somebody who other people saw my potential, but I never saw my potential. And I have to believe in myself to move forward. I have to believe that I can make my dreams come true. So the value that you can tell them that this is added to you might even be personal development. And you'll know who that matters to and who it doesn't, which is also part of the presentation skill, is that ask questions. Because the best way to remove yourself from getting angry at them, let's say somebody starts to tell you, you'll reach objections. That's normal. The worst thing that could happen to you, similar to like if you're somebody that's gone to Las Vegas or whatever, is if you get to the first table and you win a lot of money because you think that every table you go to that's going to happen. And then you get to the next table, you lose and you're massively disappointed. So if you are the kind of person who said yes right from the beginning because you're a seeker, you carry this expectation that everybody's going to say yes from the beginning. The truth is, even people like Stefania and Damian, sometimes it takes 4 to 6 to 10 exposures with a prospect till they say yes. So if you're the person who said yes from the beginning, you get really heartbroken when people don't. And we have a concept in network marketing that I initially was a bit offended when Calvin told me this is what I was. He says, you're a little bit like ignorance on bliss. Like you think you know a lot, but there's so much more to know. But you're so blissful and excited that you found the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You want to tell everybody, and people are joining you because you're infectious, not because you actually know exactly how to teach them. Yeah. So in the beginning, we're so excited that we draw people in. Keeping that excitement and adding knowledge and experience is actually a skill that we all have to practice, because we tend to lose the excitement when people start saying the no. Yeah? So without getting too far off track, talk about your background, talk about the things you don't like. This should be the shortest part. And you should collect as many stories. This is why next week we're going to speak to each other. You might not be a stay-at-home mom of a 2 and 4-year-old, but tell them that you know somebody. Somebody in our team in Dubai was in the same situation. She wanted to go back to work, but she didn't want to do something full-time because she still wanted to watch her kids grow up. So she joined network marketing. Martin, he's got a fantastic career. He's reached the, nearly the top of his career in terms of a professional, but he's realizing there's so much beauty in the world that comes with inspiring other people. You want to welcome to a profession that's doing it. Waleed had a career that was making him feel down, and he actually left that to do something that actually is in a positive environment. No Koti story, no Jade story, who's a younger gentleman, no Stephen and Alda's story, no, collect the stories, because somebody you meet is going to connect with it and just say, you know what, you really remind me of so-and-so, and they're beginning to change their life. So the stories are part of how you're going to connect to them, which means you need to listen and become a consultant and not just a storyteller. A consultant, if they say, well, I don't have time, and say, well, is this something that you think, so act as if it's not even about you. A friend has come to you and somebody's offered them a network marketing opportunity, and you're going to help them make the decision about whether to do it or not. So they're going to say, well, I'm worried I don't have time. I'm worried I'm not good at sales. Then they say, well, because a consultant finds solutions, right? But when you're trying to get them to join you, you just get frustrated. So remove yourself from the person who's trying to get them to join you in this very skill, in this presentation skill, and be like, well, if you're struggling with time, is there any other way that you can look into managing your time to fit something in that's important to you. Because if it's important to you to create a a um, a
Residual income.
yeah, then maybe there's a way that we can find. So when you become a consultant, you're becoming a problem solver. You stop
Yeah.
getting annoyed with them. If they say, I don't have money to do this right now, then say, well, if I asked you next month at the same time of the month, if you had money, what's the answer going to be? And they say, well, it's probably going to be no. This time of the month, I'm always broke. And say, well, if you keep doing what you've always done, you're always going to be in that situation at the end of the month. Maybe we can look at a few things where you can look at a package and sell the cost of the package at profit even before you join. Would that be a way to do it? So as a consultant, you're always finding a solution. Detach yourself. The results are, they're not about you. So sorry, I keep skipping because I'm getting excited. But so how did network market come to the rescue? Yeah. Suddenly you saw that there's other ways of making money that had never occurred to you before. Suddenly you saw that your skill of connecting to people was something that could make you an income. Suddenly you saw that there are products that can help you look and feel better. You need to tell the story. We're going to come back to this next week because maybe we can all do an assignment. I think I need to retell my story because I actually wanted to give you an example of me doing it in 60 seconds and I didn't manage. And then the results, as I said, if you didn't have massive results financially yet, talk about your results with the product, talk about the intangible values, about the excitement, and talk
At
about.
the moment, it's really about the personal development and how I can apply this at even at my work, all these things that I'm learning. So that is incredible value, and it's exciting. Like Kwerty also said, she's so excited every day about it, and
That's brilliant.
just you're learning so many new things. That's so wonderful.
Yeah, and you'll stay lit up. You've got to light yourself up. Like, I mean, to me, I every day I'll make a point of listening to either Jeunesse or network marketing or personal development related audio to just keep myself in a peak state.
Yeah.
So now the next one, I think also what we need to do is we need to go through the standard presentation, which
I think so.
yeah. So we'll do one, which is similar to what we do on the webinar, but we'll do it on a Sunday night. And it will be about, and I actually have a copy of the presentation, which has notes underneath it. You know how sometimes some PowerPoint presentations
PowerPoint have it.
I have one that has the notes for the slides. This is, go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And also the little starter kit pack. I think Erica got it, or did you get it, Kwerty?
I've got it.
Yeah, that's fantastic because you put it in front of people and it tells you in the back what you actually have to say as you flip through the charts. So that is but shall we just say the basics of the presentation, the basic format, it starts with your story.
Okay, I'll tell you, there are three things that you're trying to establish with the presentation of what we're going to do. All the objections you're going to get are either going to be, they might sound like different things, but they're really two things. Either they don't believe in network marketing, or like there's not enough belief in network marketing, or there's not enough belief in themselves. Now, what we can do with the presentation is establish belief in Jeunesse and in network marketing. There's three aspects of it. You have to establish their faith in the founders, their understanding of the products, and their understanding of how to make money with Jeunesse, right? So these are the three stages. It's really the founders section is about how we discovered Jeunesse, which is basically Randy Ray needed a knee replacement and they went to alternative science. This is where you can talk about the credibility of stem cell technology and the importance in science as much as cosmetics, because they replaced his knee. I remember when I first went to presentations, Danian used to even go into saying how, people who've had cancer removed from their necks, they re-inject stem cells to regraft parts of the neck. Like, stem cells is really saving lives, yeah? And it's true. And we actually have exclusive patent rights over the human stem cell information. And this is still patented. Now, Waleed, being the auditor that he is, when he first joined Jeunesse, the first thing he asked me is, how long do the patents last? And I didn't actually know the answer. And the truth is, I still don't know the answer, actually. So we better find out.
It's 30 years usually.
Okay, so we still have a big lifeline. We'll all be very wealthy in Jeunesse by the time the patent runs out, because Jeunesse is only 7 years old. So we've still got 22, 23 years running on the patent. So we're okay.
Yeah.
So the basic thing is who's Randy Ray and who's Wendy Lewis, and that Randy actually, for example, establishing confidence in them. He was a computer software programmer. He wrote software for the initial launch sequence of NASA. These are not Mickey and Minnie Mouse, yeah? We're talking about people who have a fantastic reputation, a lot of credibility. And they mainly discovered Jeunesse because of his operation. And again, this was about empowering the doctor. They tried the product. It was a product used for medical reasons, the stem cell serum, for rosacea, for psoriasis, which also adds credibility, that this was initially created as a medical product, and for post-operation recovery, for dealing with scarring, because it renews the stem cells. So all of these skin issues were solved. It had a fantastic side effect. It got rid of age spots, gave more collagen, and got rid of wrinkles. That is a compelling story, and it's the truth, which is brilliant, which even makes it more compelling, right? So
Well,
he was like, sorry, go ahead.
I said, well said.
Thank you. And Wendy wanted to try it, so she used it on her face, and then whenever she had the leftover, rather than washing her hands, she just rubbed it on her hands, and it got rid of the age spots on her hands. They knew about network marketing because Randy was writing software for other large network marketing companies, and they're like, this product needs to get to the world. This doctor's amazing. He's created, so it was all about, they were already millionaires. It was all about a doctor whose product needed to get to the world. B, it was about a world who needed a product that was actually effective and did what it said, right? They are very ethical people. Like, ethics is the foundation of the inspiration behind what they've done. And C, they knew that this was a product that they could put the power of making money in the true people who deserve it, which is the loyal customers like you and I, which is what you're going to be telling this person you're presenting to. You need to learn the basics. Les Brown says it's better to be very prepared to give a presentation and not have an opportunity than it would be to have an opportunity and not be prepared. Imagine if out of the blue you met one of the biggest pharmaceutical company owners and you weren't ready. Yeah? It would be better to be completely ready and tell it to your cat than to not be ready at all. Yeah? It's much better to be prepared and not have that opportunity than to have that opportunity and not be prepared. So just be prepared. Be prepared to spew it off at any given moment where somebody goes, I remember when me and my 4 siblings were kids, we used to have this thing, a fact that you don't need to know. My mom occasionally would lose her bananas and throw the cooking utensils behind her at whoever wouldn't shut up. So we would say you must always be prepared as a ninja. So you might be walking through your house and one of my brothers would throw a cushion at you so that you would dodge. Always be prepared. Just be prepared, right? So again, that's the story of the founders. The next thing you want to say without naming them is that we've, even in the past year, won over 117 different awards. Say, I love Jeunesse. I could tell you until the cows come home about how amazing it is, but it's when a third party is giving you these awards, and these third parties are not paid by Jeunesse, they're just accreditors. Third party accreditation tells the story, and Jeunesse has won so many awards. They have climbed the ladder in the last companies that over the last 30 years took them 30 years in network marketing to make the $1 billion point. We hit it in 7. This is where you want to say other people that hit it in 7 are Facebook, Google, Apple. Microsoft took 9. Yeah. So somebody in business will understand that if we climb that quickly, if somebody told you, do you want to invest in iPhone? It's going to be really good. And they came from the future to tell you that it's going to work. It's the same thing. We already know what Jeunesse has done in Europe and America. It hasn't done it yet in the Middle East and South Africa, or in our regions in general. So we already know what the future is coming, what's coming to. So you're giving them an opportunity to get in early. So that part, so you're going to move in from the founders and who they are, how they discovered the serum and started Jeunesse. You want to mention that we started on 090909 because it's a number for longevity. So they've started it with good luck because they wanted to give it all the blessings it could start with. You want to talk about some of our awards, which again, the slide has the notes, but this is just in general. And then you're going to move on to how many countries we're in, which shows them that they can have their business all around the world very instantly. Yeah. And that is all about the domino effect of how fast it can grow once you get going. This is something that it's not even like a snowball. It's like it's a snowflake, and you got to roll it, roll it, roll it. Manage people's expectations. They're not gonna. This isn't a lottery ticket. They're not gonna get in and suddenly win big. But it's better to get rich in 3 to 5 years than it is to stay poor for 40 in a job, in debt, right? So that's a big thing that I like to say in my presentations, that one of my favorite quotes in network marketing is that 3 to 5 years is, some people think that's too long to build a wealth in an industry, but they don't think 40 years in a job is too long to, and it's not necessarily that people are all in debt, but we're not saving, we're just saving enough to hopefully retire comfortably, but not necessarily to make our dreams come true. And most of us tend to give up on the dreams, and then the dream becomes to retire comfortably. But I think we all have bigger dreams, and there's nothing wrong with that. And another thing that I've loved, and I'm sorry if I'm going off, Martin, you've got to wave at me or do the time thing. That it's average people with above average dreams are given an extraordinary opportunity to make those dreams come true. So learn the standard opportunity and learn the different training sessions. Now that's something that you can do, we'll do as a group. Eventually, each and every one of you is going to have your own team, and you're going to be doing what Martin's initiated here by, he's even made me commit to a training. Now it's difficult because now my entire week, my Sundays are training with you guys. Monday night is live presentation. Tuesday night, just so you know, is going to be newcomer training. So we're going to look at the back office. We're going to look at how to use your website, how to sign up new people, how to use the basic tools. You're very welcome to join on Tuesday night newcomer training, and you can send anybody that's just joined, right? Then Wednesday night's webinar, basically, then the weekend's off. But I'm happy that Martin's did this. And when we say here, learn the different training sessions, this will eventually be your job. This will be a dead end if we always have to rely on our upline to do it. Eventually, you need to be the ones who are the leaders. And we don't even need to use the word leaders anymore. We can say the influencers. You're going to be influencing your little tribe, which is going to be our expanded tribe. You can rely on us for ages because we're just going to keep doing this. But eventually, it's going to branch out into sub-training. So any day of the week, we know that somebody somewhere is doing a training. And start presenting. Start experimenting. Use it as an excuse even to tell people about what you're doing indirectly. Just say, I've been practicing this. I started a business of my own. I'd love the feedback on how my presenting skills. Can I tell you about what I'm doing? They might go, seriously? This is amazing. So moving back to the opportunity. So the founders, the accreditations, how many countries we're in, then we get on to the products. I'm not going to talk about that tonight because that's an entire training of its own. Yeah. The main points are to say that it's a holistic system that works from the inside out. My favorite analogy now is that basically when it comes to youth and skincare, the colon and the skin came from the same cell in the embryo. So when you've got a tree whose leaves are going yellow and dehydrated and dying, you treat the roots, right? And the leaves. So the colon is like the leaves, and the skin is like, the colon is the roots and the skin is the leaves. And you need, if you want the leaves to look good, you've got to treat both.
That's interesting.
So, and they did. The colon and the skin are the very same cell. They came from the same cell in the embryo. They're very interconnected. It's like your third lung. It's a filter. You've got your lungs, your kidney, and your skin. That's the way you filter what's going on the inside. So learn the products, but start by saying, even if you say, look, I'm not a scientist, but I can send you the videos that will tell you all about it. But I can tell you that our approach is holistic. We believe beauty is from the inside out, and we know this works. And we've got, in this one, don't go into it, just talk about the big key things. The big like bells are Nobel nominated products, Nobel nominations. Some of the products have won, the science behind it has won Nobel Prizes, millions of dollars worth of research, tried and tested, and the third party individuals in the tests, 100% of them said they'd recommend to friends and family. And we're so confident that it works that if you become a member, you get 40% off just to try it and recommend it to other people, because we know you'll get results. Those are powerful things you can say without getting into science details, you know. I'm recording.
And maybe just to say that don't make out as if you're an expert in the thing, because people will try to catch you out. So rather they say, look, if we can either schedule a third-party call or something like that with somebody that's got more knowledge about the products if they want to. But we always say to people, you know, when you go to a chemist or wherever you buy your stuff, you don't ask them for all the details of the product. But strangely, with Jeunesse, everybody asks everything about that.
And actually, people want to say something because it makes them feel clever. Basically, they just showing objection makes them feel smart. You know, they'll just would have eaten McDonald's and like a soda the size of their head, and then they're going to ask you about how pure the ingredients are. You know, like it just makes them feel smarter. It's better to say that, again, like Martin said, like we can either put you together with somebody that knows a lot about the science. I'm happy to do it, or send them some videos, send them some product sheets. If you don't have access to those things yet, then let us know, because we need to direct you. And I'll be showing you on Sunday on Tuesday, where to find some of this in your back office. I've already said about, let's just see if we can get the slide to work. So before I move on to the follow-up, I just want to say that your main goal in your presentation is to give knowledge and educate. It's not to get a yes, because even if they leave you thinking Jeunesse is actually quite a cool company, or network marketing is a really interesting system, because the last thing is in the presentation, learn how to tell them about the compensation plan, or show them a video, or give them something to read, because there is an opportunity PDF. But your goal is to educate. When you focus that's your goal, you're a consultant. So if they come up with a problem or an objection, see it as a problem that you might be able to solve. That's what a consultant does. So educate them, be a consultant, and spread knowledge. Those are your goals, basically. And leave it with the next exposure, which is what we're going to talk about. So say, well, thank you for meeting me. I'll send you, how can I never ask them what did you think? Because then they always find something smart and negative. Ask them, what did they like best? Or what did they think was the most interesting? Because that will give you a positive answer. And if they say, how can I help you get closer to understanding this? If they say some videos, some more information, when will you have time to see it? So you're setting up the follow-up, right? The follow-up is simply something you're doing what you said that you would do. If you've told them to look at a video or read some information or check out your website, by the way, your website has almost everything you need on it, because they can read about a lot on it, which we'll look through that on Tuesday. You're just being a man or woman of your word. If you said that you were going to check whether they did it, you have to be the person who does that. If you don't give them, and the best way to follow up, to be honest, is actually to get the best results, is to do condensed follow-up. Don't give them 3 weeks and then go check on them. Give them within 3 weeks, you could have done 4 exposures. So 1 week is when you've invited them. The second one exposure is when you've invited them. The second one is when you've actually told them about the opportunity. The third one is when you've checked whether they've had time to watch or read or whatever. So the best results is actually condensed follow-ups. Don't ask me why. I just do what I'm told. If the people who've succeeded said this is how it works, then that's what I'm going to do.
What Eric Worre is saying is that our lives are so busy, and we are there's constant information coming into our minds. So if you give them something now and you leave it, because there's so much other information coming in, the other just goes out the window. Yeah. So why you've got to constantly come back to them. It's actually the reason why Coca-Cola still advertises till today. We all know Coca-Cola, but why do they still advertise? It's repetition. Because every time, even though you know Coca-Cola, you know exactly the song or whatever, the signage, it's repetition in the brain that makes it.
No, it's a very fair point, Martin. That's exactly, you reminded me, that's exactly what he says. It's like we've got so much going on, even if it's something, you know, I mean, so many of us have been exposed to ideas that we thought were going to improve our life, and then we didn't actually put them to action. And very soon after, we've let it slide or forget about it. So even if somebody's like, seriously, you can make a lot of money helping people feel better, that's pretty cool. And they get excited about it. And then you're like, yeah, you totally can. And I'm going to send you some videos, and you're going to, you know, if you can tell me when I can contact you. So get them to commit to the time and date, and then do what you said and call them back when you said you did. If you don't get back to them soon after, it just filters out. It filters out.
It's also, it's an opportunity for you to understand where the people are and what are their interests. Are they interested in their product to just use it, or are they interested in the business? What is it? So it's the way you ask these questions without giving them an opportunity to find a reason why they don't like it.
Yeah.
And this one, on a scale of 1 to 10, how interested are you? And Eric Worre says if it's 1, then it's still good.
Yeah.
So then you know that you can follow up, because then the next one is, so, what can we give you more information on to educate or to inform you a little bit more?
Yeah. Like if they say a 4, like how can I help get you to a 6 or a 7? You know, let me know, how can I, what information can I provide you? And then say, well, I need to know, maybe they'll say, as Martin says, then you know where they're interested. I need to know a bit more about how the compensation plan works. To know that they're more interested in the business. They should always be interested in the product because that's what they're representing. But everybody has ways out in different places. I'd like to see more before and afters. I'd like to see more results, you know. I'd like to know more about the founders. So you can kind of start to assess, you know, I'm worried that I might not have enough friends. You know, say like our upline Double Diamond is completely antisocial, but he realized that being social is part of his job. You know, you might not be somebody who likes to pick up the phone, but you have to. Now, something really important is if you follow up and they haven't done what they said they would. Like if they say like, I haven't followed the video, be like, why? And if they say, I don't have time, show me your agenda. You have time. What are you doing? You know? Don't get irritated.
That's me.
You know, don't get irritated with them. Like you cannot get irritated with them. You're like, okay, well that's, you know, things like that happen. Life gets busy. Okay, so this is where it's to set up the next exposure. Well, do you mind if I check this time next week if you've done it? You know, or I've got it on my agenda that I'm going to be making phone calls again on Thursday. So I'll just put you down to check whether you've done it by then, you know. So be persistent, but be professional about your persistence. Don't be like, don't get annoyed with them. Don't get irritated. It's natural for people to slack or object.
I also say, you know, people have lives, you know, and if somebody comes to me, and if Donna had come to me originally and said to me, oh, well, you're crazy. Why do you carry on in your job that's not, you know, blah, 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 then I would think, but, you know,
it's disrespectful.
Did I spend the whole of my life actually, and now you coming to tell me that I actually made a mistake in following where I was. So you've got to understand that to tell people that if they like red, and you're now coming to tell them that's completely ridiculous to like red and they have to like blue, then, you know, it's not going to work. So you have to slowly turn them over.
Yeah, you don't want to be disrespectful. And it's really, do you know, as much as all of us want to tell our story, because we each have a story that is to be heard, they have a story as well. Try and find a way to listen to it. Try and find a way to get them to tell you what their story is. Be a good people reader. For example, I was working not from home, and my phone ran out of battery, and I had brought a charger with me. So my computer was plugged in, my phone was plugged into my computer, but you know how sometimes the charger port doesn't work. And I was waiting for somebody, so I really needed my phone to be charged. So I saw a couple of other girls sitting on the table with their computers. And I went up and asked if they had a phone charger. It was an opportunity for me to meet new people. They obviously were similar in that they work on their own hours. So this is somebody that freelances, which might mean, so you need to immediately become somebody who reads very quickly, reads a person. So she's freelance, which means that money comes in and out, you know. She had an engagement ring. She's soon to be getting married. She was young enough to be thinking about a family soon. There were things that I could immediately tell about somebody. So start to even read things about how to become more clued on, you know. So I asked if she had a charger, and then I saw her engagement ring, and I said, "Oh, this is really beautiful. When are you getting married?" So she told me more about herself, and that, you know, she's still doing some consulting work, but her husband travels a lot, and so there's loads of stuff. To me, that's actually a good thing, because somebody whose husband travels a lot actually needs to fill her time. So it might
Can
be
I say something?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, actually, there's a good book called The Art of Profiling, and it helps helps you understand people and read people. So you actually, before you start contacting yourself with the prospects, if you can identify a few features, like you said, you identified the ring, the age, and stuff like that, it really helps how you present yourself, and
Yeah,
it's quite
very
helpful.
true.
I used it as in the audit profession, because you need to talk to different people, you need to understand different
So
people.
the art of profiling, you said, yeah?
Yeah.
That's very cool. I mean, Alda, Stephen, and I had a fantastic meeting today about what we're going to do for a particular audience, and it was so great. I mean, I learned from every interaction. So you want to also be a student as much as you are somebody who's a consultant. You know, like, always have a student's heart. The follow up, by the way, I will admit, is actually my weakest skill. And I know I've been told over and over again that the fortune is in the follow up. Like, I'm somebody who has always been drawn to people. I'm one of 5 kids, so I love crowds. I tend to draw people in very easily and not necessarily follow up. So it's actually quite an important skill, and it might seem not dismissive, but like, okay, well, I've done it. If they're really interested, they'll get back on me to me. Some of us think like, oh, we don't want to uh, harass them. But you could be a professional, because it's your job. It's your job to check, have they checked it? Have they thought about it? Have they found a way to come up with the money? Can you answer any more questions? Do they want to schedule a meeting with somebody else? So, and the art of profiling.
And the reason why you have to follow up when you said you're following up, even if they didn't read it or they didn't watch the video, is because you are a professional person and you're doing what you said you will do, as the first point on the slide says. It's a very important thing. I know we all fail in that because we get busy and then we don't do it. And that kind of gives, I think, an impression of, oh, well, the guy's not really full on into it, you know?
Yeah. I think it's a big deal, as Martin said. Like, I have lost some credibility. I'm better at it now, but in the beginning, I've lost some credibility by not following up with opportunities, because then I've seen the people again, and I'm the person who didn't do what I said I would do. You never want to be that person. You want to be the person.
And it makes it awkward then to restart the conversation.
Yeah.
Because now you've got to kind of start all from the beginning again, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, this is a separate skill. We're kind of done with what we wanted to do for tonight. Thank you so much, Martin, for putting that together. This is a separate skill that I want to address, which is very much about keeping that passion lit. And I think that's very much about, I mean, even Stefania once said to me, you should try and work with other people, you know, try and make sure that there's a team that keeps you going. So I'm actually unmuting the things which you can do yourself, but feedback would be great. Or any things that anybody wants to add about how this has made them feel, how facing rejection has made them feel, or anything that they want to that they feel would be helpful?
Can I just add one thing? The most important thing that you started at the beginning is the list, and I prepared my own list, but then when you forwarded to me the memory jogger, I just was able to add so many more names to my list, and I'll email all of you this memory jogger so you actually can start preparing your list and adding those names. And it really helps when I'm feeling down and I look at, like, I have 300, 400 names in front of me, and it just gives you a new momentum, because you don't feel like, oh, I don't know nobody. I know a lot of people. I just need to make the time to call all these people, and just, it's a continuous process.
So so let's try and hold on, Stephen. Hold on. You're okay, Stephen?
You hear us?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, we've heard a lot of these things on Sunday nights and whatnot, and especially tonight's presentation. I keep hearing how great Jeunesse is, how wonderful, how many awards we've won, what kind of money it's turned over, the whole big thing. The one thing I don't hear is, it's so big, why would I want to be involved in something that's so successful already? Isn't it so successful, should I wait for something else to come about? In other words, where's the growth? And I haven't heard once tonight about my involvement would actually be important for the growth of the company. Because it's already successful, it's already achieved, it's already got the awards, it's got the accolades. It's almost like got to a point now, it's like joining Coca-Cola. What am I going to do in Coca-Cola?
Can I answer this question?
So they have said that they want to expand to 3 billion, etc. But when I did a pitch the other day to somebody, they felt very sort of, where do I fit into it? Has it already been sold out type of thing?
That's a really excellent question.
I can answer this question, Stephen. Actually, if you look at the age of Jeunesse, which is 7 years, Jeunesse has been going strong in several markets, but there's a lot of areas in the world where they have not even penetrated the markets yet. For instance, in Africa, it's still a virgin for Jeunesse. They have not really tapped into the resources of Africa. And looking at the demographics and what's happening there in terms of middle income people on the rise, there's huge potential. Secondly, if you look at Europe, they just started in Europe about 2 years ago. So they have just barely scratched the surface. If you look at other big network marketing companies, they have been in the industry for 30 years. We've only been there 7 years. Plus, if you look at other areas like the Middle East, it's not a tapped market. If you look at the Far East, they're doing well in China, but they're just opening up in India, which is a huge market. You're talking about 1.5 billion people. So when you're working with Jeunesse, you're not only working in your backyard, you're working on a global basis. So those markets are really untapped markets for you. On top of that, you want to say, if you're actually not coming in late or early. We are introducing products that are state of the art. They have not been introduced by anybody else. So when you have this momentum, and you are lucky to be working with these elite scientists that can produce this sort of stuff, you're at the top edge of technology, which is providing something totally new to the people and the consumers. And that's why you're constantly having that edge. Unlike other companies where their products become obsolete, we're constantly developing. And since we have a good R&D budget, we can constantly add and produce new products. So that's why one of the reasons that I've actually joined Jeunesse is that, because if you look at like Warren Buffett's theory, is that you need to invest in companies that there's actually demand, a daily demand for goods like shampoo, detergents, blades for men. In Jeunesse, we have products that make people look and feel younger. There's a huge demand and a huge appetite, because everybody's now become on an international platform of communication, and everybody wants to look beautiful and young and extend your life. So there's demand worldwide. And that's why I feel there's a huge potential for this business. Sorry, but human beings are vain. Go ahead, Martin.
That's where one can refer to that one slide in the presentation where it shows you the market share that all these different products in the world have. You know, the weight loss products, the energy products, all those things. There's that one slide with all the figures related to it. And if you look at that, we're still actually a small part of that massive market out there.
Do they give year growth potential and percentage-wise of the last 4 or 5 years that you can see the growth potential of the company?
Yeah, if you're on J Mobile, they have the exec. What do they call it, Donna? Something exec, where they speak to
Exec Connect.
Yeah, Exec Connect, and that's where they every month. What's his name?
They update you on the statistics of our growth and stuff. But I just want to say that I actually think that's a really good point that Stephen's brought up, because sometimes when we're pumping up the company, we might actually overshoot, which is a very fair point, because then people can't see. You want to always make sure that your prospects feels why they're significant, why their contribution is going to make a difference, why their skills are going to make a difference. But I guess what we think that we're doing, which we might miss it, but I do like the point that Stephen made, and I love the answer that both of you gave actually is very significant, is that by talking about how big and important we are, we might actually make them feel like the role they play in spreading the distribution pace is insignificant. But actually, Jeunesse relies completely on people like us to create distribution channels, and then you can carry on, as Walid says. But I do think it's a fair point that if we pump it up too much, it might seem we might miss the mark. But what we want to do is show them that Jeunesse has the credibility to serve them, so that when they are trying to get people on, they can say this is a credible company. But they are looking to people like us on the ground in untapped markets to create distribution channels. And when we move volume for Jeunesse, Jeunesse will move mountains for us. So that's where it kind of lays in.
I think it's like at the end of Eric Worre, he has this conversation with somebody, and the guy also has an answer. He says, well, seriously, don't you want to be part of this company? If you were, say, 6 or 7 years ago, and you had an opportunity to join Google or Microsoft or Facebook, wouldn't you have joined them? And look where they are now. So, you know, that is another way to say to people, well, you know, don't you want to be part of this growth?
There's also one more thing that I believe is very important, that as you introduce new products to the market, other products become obsolete. And there's a change in the market that you will absorb a lot of market share from these people. If Jeunesse is producing state-of-the-art facial products that relate to stem cell technology and growth factors, you'll notice after a while when the company starts to expand, some of these other products, which, you know, they're costing such a big fortune to buy, will start disappear from the market, because they cannot compete in terms of price, and they cannot deliver what our products deliver. So there's going to be shifting in the market. Market shares will change, definitely. If you look at the technology and what certain companies have gone through, like BlackBerry, Nokia, they've been completely shifted out of the market because their technology become obsolete, and the same thing with the products here.
We have to be a bit careful with that, because that's going to lead to the skeptic saying, well, what's going to protect me from knowing that the next big thing is not going to come and replace the products that Jeunesse has? So it's a little bit iffy. But I think it's good to not be the expert when you're not the expert also. So, and just actually respect their question. So when they ask a question that's just challenging, say like, honestly, I actually have to really honor you for coming up with a question. And it's people that, like, the skeptics are good, because they ask the difficult questions that lead us to learn. And when we've satisfied their answer, they become really big believers. So then you can bring it back. Sorry, Walid, I know you were just about to say something. We can come back to it. Yeah, but it is good to not be the expert when you're not the expert. I can't say stuff like Walid and sound credible, because, sorry, I think I just heard one of my kids crying. I'm sorry. I gotta go. I'll be back. You guys continue. I'll be back. My husband's not in the house. I'll be back.
Okay. Well, that was actually a very good question, I think. What about something else? I saw that Erika is online. Are you there?
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Hello, Erika. Yeah.
Erika wrote a very nice own story, which maybe next week she could share with the people. It's quite a moving story. And it follows the 4 points. So that was good to read. Maybe you could just maybe abbreviate it a little bit when you talk. I don't know how long it would take you to tell the story. But
is it too long?
No, well, it was. I mean, we need to see when you tell the story. But it's very good. It's very good. The aim of the story is to bring people in touch with you as a person, and not as a salesperson, but as somebody that has a life and has a story. And I think your story was very, very good. So
when I started writing it, I was thinking, it's very easy to write your story when you've done the success and you can look back to where you were and how you progressed. But it's very difficult to write it when you start.
Yeah.
Because you've got no success points to. That's why I say it's something you will probably build upon during the years.
Yeah.
Because it's a journey.
Yeah. Well, you can always say, because it's an opportunity. I see and I believe in the opportunity. And
yes.
maybe I haven't made money or whatever, but I know of people that are very successful in the business and, have been able to live their dream, And it doesn't have to be to earn the $1 million. It can be to pay for a school child's tuition, for example, here in Dubai, because it is so expensive here. So that could be an aim, or to help my husband, or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be the $1 million. And those are small success stories for people. We're not.
I've also written my invitation, and I've decided that I don't necessarily want a launch. But what I want is, because my people are so scattered on my list, they're not like all in Cape Town, they're some in Canada, some in Sweden, that type of thing. So I would like to do the invitation, do a part of the presentation attached, and then set up a session like this with you guys and them.
Yeah, that's a good way. It's kind of look how I dealt with you. I said, I've got this wonderful opportunity, and maybe you do know somebody in South Africa, and what do you think of the market in South Africa? Or if it's somebody that's in business, you say, you've got such a good business mind. Would you mind looking at this for me?
Exactly.
And then you send them a small video on it. I prefer not to send the big hoo-ha kind of stuff. I prefer to send a 1 or 2 minute video max.
Yes, because that presentation is too bulky. Then people don't come back to you because they don't have a chance to look at it properly.
Exactly, yeah. So that's always a good way. So absolutely, you have to tailor it to make it work for you and to fit in with your program.
Yes.
Sometimes, we've got to, like the party that I had here the other day with 8 people, it took quite a while to organize that party. And that was actually my launch party. I've never actually had a big party. I talk to people about it, but that was my party. And it took quite a while to get the people together, but they knew already what I was doing and what it's all about. So I made it more a social event, and because they all kind of friends and party girls. So that was my approach with them.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's anybody else that's got questions or want to give us some feedback on this. I mean, you know, this is an open forum, and we want to continue this like every Sunday. I think we'll try to keep it to an hour max. Every time. And so if there's suggestions or typical things that you want to do, I think next week we'll then do the closing the deal, basically. And we're going to spend the whole evening just on that, because it's a very important part of the process. And then there's something else that we need to talk about as well at some point is social media.
Yeah.
And what we should be doing on social media.
Yeah.
Not to spam people, but to, but that we can keep for a second.
Just in brief, that's all about attraction marketing. So it's all about, you know, basically it's about being who you want to attract by and knowing what kind of tribe of people that you're going to actually draw to your business. What are the things that they will see in you that will draw them into your world, basically. And then because we want to not just end at the Eric GoPro Skills, I'd like to do workshops where we actually tell each other the story, go over the list, expand on what we've found, and just continue this as we all grow in our business, and hopefully as our teams are growing. And then we'll do revisions for when the team gets bigger, because some of them will need to go back to the basic skills. So we'll have to take this into an advanced level, etc., etc.
But start presenting people, start presenting it to your husband, your wife, whoever it is, you know, start presenting and so that you become more comfortable with it, you know, and maybe just in small parts, you know, so that you feel more comfortable with what you're presenting.
Yeah.
It's very important. Even if you make mistakes, it's fine. You learn through it. Don't wait till you know everything. Start presenting. Start talking to people about it.
Martin?
Yeah.
I've got a dumb idea.
Typical of you to have a dumb idea.
Has everyone, well, I'm on the dog box just to get into a shot here.
Okay.
Everyone got access to a Dropbox?
Yeah.
Because one idea would be to do your stories as a selfie and put them in Dropbox so we can all watch them over the week. So instead of everyone, like, you know, do your selfie, you can do it 3-4 times, and the one that you're happy with, upload it.
Absolutely.
And we can start watching things there. And also to do a pitch. I'd like to do, like, for example, Jade or Alda to do a pitch, and we can just do a selfie of that pitch and put it on there and start commenting on it.
Excellent idea. And I mean, you will give us some very good tips on, you know, the presentation and looking into the camera and all these kind of things. Talking about Jade, I want to schedule a meeting with him before he goes to Australia.
Yeah, he's sick at the moment. We're going to get touch base with him tomorrow.
Okay, and then for the rest of the people, it's something that's been on my mind for a long, and I think we're just going to leave you with that tonight. Is, you know, the term "go where the fire is," and there's certain countries that are doing excellent at the moment: Germany, Italy, Brazil, Turkey,
Australia,
incredible growth. So please think about it. There are outside South Africa, if South Africa is still slow a little bit at the moment, think about opportunities outside South Africa and start connecting with people. I'm sure everybody knows somebody in one of those countries.
I was going to say we have upline all over the world, because it really, obviously people will help people for the sake of helping, but if they're in their upline and they're affected by them financially, then they'll really help them even more. And we do have connections and upline in various different cities, and we've got also a lot of people in the favor banks actually that we've helped out in the Middle East that will be willing to help us out in different cities around the world. So
and let it be part of your strategy. Start thinking Italy. Maybe you know somebody in Italy that we can start talking to, so that by the time we get to Milan, we have not just us there, but we have people that we've invited to go there, and we meet them there.
Yeah.
So that is, yeah.
Kan jy net gou weer daai lande noem? Ekskuus man.
Well, it's just off my head. It's Brazil is moving very fast. Germany, Italy, Australia, Turkey, Russia. Russia is third. Russia is third in Europe at the moment.
Okay.
So.
Dankie.
I mean, the Philippines. There's a lot. The Philippines is apparently they make the most money of everybody.
Okay.
So please do think about those countries and start expanding there and presenting the opportunity there. Because that's where the fire is. That is where it's moving.
Yeah.
Dankie.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Good night.
Okay, good night.
Nice to see you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.